I just want a 2-bedroom apartment, but it's haunted by ghosts! The only way for me to get out of here is if I beat the perfect Halloween game! Ha ha!
Turning on Luigi's Mansion in the fall with crispy weather while it's pitch black outside. Maybe a sleepover with your buddies, taking turns, passing around the controller after somebody dies. Everybody hoping not to get too scared, but you can feel a little fright tingle down your spine every now and then. Oh yeah, Luigi's Mansion was made for spooky season, and with it dropping on NSO right before Halloween, I thought there was no better time than now than to give a spooktacular rundown of Luigi's finest outing. This launch title for the GameCube, which released in 2001, was always a little strange. It was pitched as something to hold everyone over before the great 3D Mario platformer came out, which ended up being Sunshine. And it was this little Luigi adventure where he's capturing ghosts. Before this, Luigi had a bit of an identity crisis. He was sometimes a cool guy, sometimes just another Mario. Now he's getting his first ever game to himself. His first ever game to himself, I said. And it's going to be about capturing ghosts, and he's acting all scared all the whole time. And at the time, it solidified the strange era we were about to enter in the GameCube. We were starting off with a new IP called Pikmin that certainly looked different, and a Luigi platformer that's not a platformer. Luigi, known for jumping higher than Mario, all of a sudden can't jump. He now has a vacuum made to suck up ghosts, and it focused heavily on the dual joysticks that the GameCube controller has. I miss when Nintendo made weird decisions based on vibes like this. Like, how did this idea come to fruition? Like, did they all eat a bunch of brownies and watch Ghostbusters one night? Bummer. I mean, it sounds like an ideal October night if you ask me. Either way, I love that we somehow got here. Luigi's Mansion ends up being one of the GameCube's finest games, and one of the best launch titles for any Nintendo system, bar none. And by far the best Luigi's Mansion game? Look, I might be drinking too much of the Halloween Kool-Aid right now, so let's play through it and see if my memory isn't being clouded here.
Nintendo.
Wow. That was the scariest I've ever heard somebody say Nintendo. We've come a long way from the happy-go-lucky Yoshi Story intro.
Nintendo.
Nintendo.
We see Luigi walking up to this free mansion that he supposedly won. Such a simple plot that sounds like something a little kid would come up with just to jumpstart Luigi being inside of a haunted house. Like they wanted to put him in the house first before finding a reason for him to be there. Something you can feel right off the bat is the game goes all out for tone. If you play with the lights off, that feeling of dread Luigi has sinks through your skin, and the eerie music takes your soul with Luigi inside the mansion. This single-handedly is the most spirit and atmosphere in the entire Mario series. I think Sunshine maybe puts up an argument for being close, but no other time in Nintendo's tenure did they care so much about style. The whole game feels like you, the player, are walking through the dusty mansion, step by step next to our green protagonist, and that is entirely due to the feeling you get from the music, the atmosphere, and the colors that this game shows you. Growing up, my dad would beat a lot of the games, and me and my brother would just watch. We were too young to understand how to play Banjo-Kazooie, Mario 64, or DK64, but we loved to watch those games be played. And the GameCube was around the time my dad stopped playing the one-player games, so it was now fully me and my brother's console. These one-player games were for us. I was 6, about to be 7, and my brother was 8 when this came out on September 14th, 2001. So this game ended up hitting us at the exact right time for a one-player experience. I think you can complain about the difficulty quite a bit in this game as you progress in it, but for an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old exploring this together for the first time ever, just walking around with just a flashlight as the game provides you to start, not knowing where to go, and then this key appearing in front of you, and all the sounds of spookiness intensify, and you have to take the key back to the room that the ghost went into. I mean, it really felt like this game was made for people in our demographic. I was really ready to come in here and tell you guys how this is the scary Luigi's Mansion. The other two don't hold a candle to what we got working with here, but I'm 30 now, you know, I wasn't scared of this. I don't think anybody my age would be scared of this. Let me try to find a way to describe it. It's spooky. I don't want to sit here and backpedal all of the tone and atmosphere I was talking about, because the game has that in droves. But being honest here, it's not scary for me anymore as a 31-year-old man. But that's okay. Look, after recently playing all three Luigi's Mansions, I would say this is the scariest out of all three. It's never that scary, but I can see why 6-year-old Nick was frightened. But at the end of the day, it's still pretty silly. The best way I came up with describing it was Luigi's Mansion 2 and 3 are a little more like a regular Scooby-Doo episode where it's way more silly than it is scary. And Luigi's Mansion 1 is like Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island, where this can honestly give a kid nightmares if they're not careful. But at the end of the day, it's still Scooby-Doo. I vividly remember when I was in first grade and me and my brother were playing this game. When we were done playing it, we would turn it off, and our GameCube was in the basement. So when you turned the GameCube off in the basement, you were going upstairs, you had to turn the lights off before you came back upstairs. And boy, after we turned those lights off, we were sprinting upstairs to make sure that the ghoulies didn't catch us on the way up. I love no matter what, when Luigi picks up a key, he does this happy toothy grin with the sound effect that goes along with it, the dun 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 dun. It gives you the dopamine fix you need after solving a puzzle. That almost always used to make me jump when I was playing this at 6. You go upstairs to unlock this door, and I love how Luigi's hand trembles as he opens the door, frightened of the horrors that are ahead. And he's right to do so, because a ghost immediately attacks him. And luckily for Luigi, Egad is there, attempting to save the day. Always enjoy watching him struggle. Egad, I love this character. Mad scientist but good guy. His voice clips also might be my single favorite thing about the entire game. The yabba yabba, sike sike, suka suka. I think me and my brother said that well into our 20s. Can we get this guy in more places? You know, a kart, party, smash, anything. Fun little note here. I also like how he turns to the camera when he introduces himself to Luigi, like, hey guys, I'm also talking to you. After that, him and Luigi ski-daddle, and he tells Luigi this mansion has never been here actually, and basically, he's an idiot for believing he won a mansion for free. He also tells him Mario entered but was kidnapped, and Luigi better equip this vacuum and save his brother, so it's off to training we go. You're gonna look at the controls here, and I remember really studying this as a kid, making sure I legitimately had the knowledge I needed to beat a game. Because at that time, it seemed like an impossible feat to do so after watching my dad beat Banjo-Kazooie, Mario 64, and DK64, seeing how long it took them to beat those games. I remember really studying these controls to make sure that I had it locked in my brain, but in reality, if I had known what I know now, the game's not that long. But, you know, it's good that they have a little forced tutorial here, honestly, because most people have never played a game like this before, since it has entirely new mechanics with dual joysticks and a wrangling technique that you need to catch a ghost. It was hard for me as a kid to hit the ghost with the light and then immediately use the R to suck him up. And I remember this section ended up taking us quite a while to pass, but once we got the hang of it, it really feels satisfying when you have to push your own momentum against the ghost's momentum. It's the only thing I can kind of describe it as, is like riding a bull. The ghost will pull you one way and you have to push Luigi all the way the other way to make sure that he has the control needed to pull the ghost in.
You're going to be doing this a lot, you know, I mean, how can you not? It's how the game wants to be played. You're literally like wrestling with the ghosts IRL. It's super fun. It's probably the most fun part of the whole game.
Also, I think this method of capturing ghosts is far better than how it is in Luigi's Mansion 2 or 3, which is one of the reasons why I lean 1 being the best game. I just don't like the slamming of the ghosts. It just makes it too easy, and it's, you know, you lose the fun momentum that you gain when you wrestle against the ghosts. Points for Luigi's Mansion 1 for being original. Also, look at this guy down here rooting on Luigi, throwing fisticuffs. Nothing like propping your boys up when they need it, you know what I'm saying? After all trained up, EGAD tells us we need to get these ghosts back in their portrait, and I like the idea of putting the ghosts in picture frames, because it's kind of like a motif now at this point in the Mario games. You know, Mario 64, you're jumping into the picture, and now you're stuffing ghosts back into the picture. It's a nice little full circle moment. And we go back into the mansion, and we see a crying little toad who acts as a saving station. I couldn't remember the last time a game provided me a saving station. Usually it just does that for free. So, once again, that made me feel super old, which seems to be a common occurrence when I make these retrospectives. But they could have made this save station anything, a block, a stand, but they went the extra mile and they made it a toad, which is really endearing. And I love how Toad says that, you know, Peach sent him and the princess will be so upset if Mario is missing. It's just a nice little cute Mario and Peach moment. I also want to take a second to look at these character models. I love this look for Luigi. It's not quite his N64 era, and it's not quite his standard look that the GameCube later provides. For my money, I think it's the best he's ever looked. And then this Toad just reminds me so much of that fake Smash Melee Toad render that they used when that was the rage online, that you can unlock Toad as a secret character in Melee. Oh, me and my brother really wanted that to be true. We tried to hit all the credits so we can unlock him, but of course, he's not unlockable in that game. So after you save with Toad, you go back upstairs and you go back to the room where that ghost was previously haunting you, and you blow out the purple candles, which then signals this cutscene of these scary paintings starting to, like, yell at you and telling you the fate of Mario and how you'll be next, and their friends are here to finish the job. The music grows into crescendo and into creepiness, and all of a sudden, boom, time to take these ghosts down or fail your brother. There's something about Mario being gone too that makes this scarier than Bowser kidnapping Peach. We always knew that, you know, he was keeping her safe. We have no idea who took Mario here, and he's the one who usually does the rescuing. I mean, sure, Luigi's helps, but now it's up to the younger bro? As a younger bro, this certainly resonated with me more than a typical Mario game, and it made it all the scarier. After you knock those guys out, you move on to the next room, encountering pink ghosts for the first time, who like to throw punches at you. And then finally, the green ghosts, who drop bananas that you can slip on. Always saw that as like a Donkey Kong ghost, probably just because of the bananas. But those ghosts have more HP than the orange ones, so naturally as you progress, you get to see that the ghosts are going to get harder. Forgot to mention that EGAD set us up with a Game Boy Horror, a little device that works as our map, a phone for EGAD to call Luigi, and also you can use it to get into first-person mode. And in first-person mode, you can shine your light on the hearts of the boss ghosts, or portrait ghosts as they're called, and it can give you a hint on how to take them down, which is pretty neat. You take down the dad, the mom, and they're both pretty easy ghosts, remembering this being a lot harder when I was a kid, but I knocked them both out with a single vacuum takedown. I guess I just have more power behind the sticks these days than little Nick. And then we face the boss of this area, and it's the couple's baby. And like, a ghost baby is downright sad and like legitimately upsetting. Like, this person died as a baby, and we have to take him out of this realm and put him behind a portrait forever? Yeesh. It's just kind of sad, even if his little rattling sound is super annoying. I mean, he's easy as a first boss. You just have to avoid his rocky horsey and shoot the balls back at him after you suck them up. And there you have it. You beat the first area. So you don't know this at the time, but there are 4 areas total, each ending with a big boss, and that was one of them. So this is a short game. You can finish the whole thing in under 6 hours if you really want, and that probably is my biggest gripe. But like I was saying earlier, since this was my first time playing a one-player game by myself, I ended up loving that it was short because then I was able to beat it in its entirety on my own, and it didn't take me forever. Plus, since it's so short, the replay value is very high, and once you know how to do the whole rundown of the mansion, you can get it done pretty quick. But let's be real here for a second. A shorter game is never a good thing. For young Nick, I liked that I could beat the game quickly and show my friends, but adult Nick, if I got this game now, I'd feel a little ripped off that it only took me a couple nights to beat it and I just paid full price. Me and my best friend both had this game, and we'd both beat it on our own. So when the idea of a sleepover would be floated around, we would say stuff like,
We're going to start Luigi's Mansion at the beginning, and we're going to beat it by the end of the night. Before we go to bed, we're going to beat Luigi's Mansion. But we never beat it all in one night. But the allure of beating it in one sitting was always a good rush.
Before they throw you back in the mansion, you watch the process of putting the ghosts back in their paintings, which always feels well-deserved after taking them down. And you see how much money you sucked up during this area. The money really only gives you a post-game reward, a fun extra element to add, but it is not needed in any way to beat the game. I, of course, wanted to see how well I could do during this run-through, so I tried to get as much money as possible, so we'll see how I ended up doing. Hopefully pretty good. And now back in the mansion, we get to the door that has been locked since you started the game, and it's been covered in these thorns, and this new key that you got, it actually unlocks that door, and it feels like a real accomplishment since this is the first door you see in the game and you can't go through it, and now you have the opportunity to walk through this door, and behind it is a bunch of ghosts who are dropping bombs and bowling balls at you, and it's kind of scary, but they all have 0 HP, so it's not that bad. And you use your Game Boy Horror to see the room that you can go into, and that is the really nice thing about the Game Boy Horror. When you pull it up and you have a key, it shows you exactly which door in the mansion that key belongs to. So it ends up being a huge help. You go from the bathroom to the ballroom, and then you find these 2 dancing ghosts, and you also run into these Shy Guy ghosts who are pretty cool because you have to suck off their masks, and it's the only time we've ever seen a Shy Guy without a mask on, and canonically, and it just looks like eyes that are hidden by the cloth, so it's not that cool, but they look kind of cute. And after you defeat those ghosts, you get to go to the room behind the ballroom, and with a little perspective switch, you click a red button that you see through the mirror that opens a secret side of the room, and holy moly, you just opened up the boo door. You fool, you idiot. I mean, it's something you need to do to progress in the game, but EGAD made me feel so bad for opening this door as a kid. I remember thinking there was a way to continue on without him getting mad, but there's not. You need to open that door to progress. EGAD actually calls you back and he's like, bro, why did you do that? Now you gotta go catch some boos. So now you gotta go back into the rooms that you already cleared and knock and try to find these boos and get them out from their hiding spots. And this is our first look at the big bad too, King Boo. The design here is really where it's at. They give him that little gem crown that he has. His eyes look even more sunken than the other boos. The blue tongue. And now he has this glowing neon blue aura around him. It really makes him stand out. But in the future, Nintendo just loves to toss a normal crown on a Boo every time he's in a game that's not Luigi's Mansion, like Mario Kart or something, and call it King Boo. That's not King Boo! The one time they gave him the correct outfit was in that dumb Mario Kart mobile game, and he was, of course, pay to play. So Nintendo knows we want this version of him, and they put him behind a paywall, and they just won't give it to us? That's just classic. But the Boos, they don't act like any other ghosts. They have their own rules. They don't fully lock onto your vacuum the way the other ghosts do, and when you start sucking them in, they kind of just do whatever you want. They can travel from room to room and can be a real pain in the butt to catch. I thought if I wiggled the controller around like in a 360 motion, it would throw off the rhythm, and at first it worked, but once we got to the high-power Boos that have like 300 HP, they did whatever they wanted, and I felt like I was a fool rotating my joystick around, thinking that I was able to, be smarter than these Boos are. I absolutely was not. After you round up 5 Boos, we're back now looking for more portrait ghosts, and you go to the toilet room where you nab a key from inside the toilet. And I don't know why he's so stoked to be touching a toilet key. But that brings you to the fortune teller ghost room, who's pretty chill. She's the only ghost in the whole game who willingly allows you to capture her. After that, we enter the mirror room with these grabber ghosts that you can only spot in the mirror. And that's a pretty cool idea that they do nothing else with after this one time. And after you take them down, you gain the fire element, where Luigi can shoot fire from his Poltergeist 3000, which gives us this super badass render of Luigi. Okay, King. This allows you to light candles and take down certain ghosts who are ice-based. It comes in handy, especially since we just saw these floating candles walking down the hall. It really took a lot from Disney's Haunted Mansion, huh? But I guess that was just a bunch of cliches put together on a ride anyway. So you light these guys' candles and you follow him to the room and you take him down quite easily. And at this age, I'm really destroying these portrait ghosts in one take. I mean, it's quite easy to go against their momentum and take them down for me. On your exit out, you find Mario's hat in the washer, and it has been laundered recently, as the game says. I just love that they put that in there. We'll bring that to the fortune teller later, but this key brings us to a door that has a nice little musical section. It's just fun to hear all this. This little ghost girl plays the piano once you hump these instruments to life. I don't know what else you can call it. Like he looks like he's humping them. And then her key opens up the last stretch of this area where we face the guy who always scared the crap out of me as a kid. This was where I would get stumped, and it took us buying the Luigi's Mansion guidebook to figure out what to do, but it was pretty simple. You take out a little waiter ghost here that bring him food, and then you slurp up the remainder of his food on this plate with the vacuum. But the reason we always got stumped here was because the spacing of this area is hard to really maneuver, so you end up getting hit by this guy's mouth fireballs. I took him down barely. I just got away. Actually went out here to save, I think, because I thought I was going to die. But then after I took him down, you go to the next room where you get the water element. So they don't space these three elements out that far because there's three total, and I just got fire and water in like the blink of an eye. You catch the little dog ghost outside who whimpers as you're taking him down. I don't really love that. It makes me feel like a bad guy. And you have to scan his home to get inside to find the real final boss of this section. And I don't know how you're supposed to figure out how to do that. You know, without the guide, how are you going to know that you have to scan the dog's home to get there? Or you put out the fire of this guy's graveyard, and then you get to take down this gooey ghost. And, you know, this is the part I like. You get to go to another boss arena, similar to how you went to one with the baby, and you have to suck up the versions of this guy's that are slimy, and then find the real version of this ghost that isn't slimy, and shoot the slimy versions at him. When you put it together like that, it doesn't make any sense, but, you know, that's what you gotta do. You gotta shoot the slimy versions at the not slimy version. And then after that, you can suck them down. It usually takes like 3 or 4 times, and that's it. You're at the end of the area. We're about halfway done the game, but it feels like we're just getting started. I mean, this game really amps up here, and it gets a touch more difficult, but to know we're already halfway done, it does feel a little cheap. As now is tradition, we watch EGAD put all of their ghosts back into their portraits in the engine room, and we watch EGAD do a couple jumps for joy as it's happening. And then that next key that we got from the gooey ghost takes us outside, which leads us to probably the most legitimately scary moment in the game. You hear Mario faintly screaming, and you go down this well. You get this cutscene where you see Mario trapped in a painting, pounding from inside the painting to say, "Get me out of here." And Luigi is reaching for his brother. Is that the darkest imagery in all of the Mario universe? I mean, it's gotta be up there. Maybe it's either that shot or it's the fake scary piano in Mario 64. Even still, that's more reactionary. You know, it's like you run up to the piano and you're like, oh my god, I'm scared. This is a much darker picture to paint for a child. After you see the scariest thing you've probably ever seen in Luigi's life, you then go into the other side of the mansion through the back way, which is like a nice fun little gym area. And there you find this hunk of a ghost who's lifting weights. You actually have to punch the punching bag to throw him off of his course, making sure that it hits him. And then after that, you can shine your light on him and suck him up. I mean, you gotta give a shout out to this ghost, though. Even after death, he's worried about his gains. Shout out to him. So after I sucked this guy up, moments after, I had to make sure I got a gym selfie. Right after Luigi witnessed his brother trapped inside of a painting. I still had to make sure that Luigi grabbed a sexy pic of him working out in the gym, though. Just felt necessary. After you take down the hunk, you get the ice element, the final of the 3 elements, which comes in handy right away, making them both too cold for the showering ghost. Taking care of her leads us right into the granny's room, who's easy to take down. You gotta shoot her yarn at her, which then opens out this really far out room. You go in there and you light the candles on fire using your fire element, and then that shuts you in and kind of gives you like a battle royale with all of these ghosts. But then once you take them down, you go into the observatory part of the room. You reach this area that's kind of like a part of the cosmos, and you suck up a shooting star and you have to shoot it back at the moon, and then once it explodes the moon, you get this fun, crazy little cosmic walkway to go locate Mario's star. And I wish the game had more stylized sections like this, because it's really beautiful to do this little walk to the star. It feels like a section from a whole different game. And it makes it stand out a lot more than any other collectible, and it probably should, because it's a star. We all know how important the star is to Mario lore, but at the same time, I just wish we got more of this kind of unique areas in the mansion, because the whole game takes place in the mansion, so you'd like to explore a little bit outside of it if you can. Then you gotta go back up to take down the twins, and they're a little more unsettling when you think about it. 2 boys dying at the same time. You know, at this point, they just start to become 2 little jackasses, so it doesn't make you feel too bad for taking them out, either making you play hide and seek and stuff. I don't want to do that. But they are quite fun to take down, though, since you have to take them on at the same time, and one of them is in a plane and the other's in a car, and you have to use your poltergeist to suck up their vehicles, but while you suck one of them up, the other's going to be trying to throw stuff on you. I like how challenging this is. It's probably the best challenge that the ghosts have provided so far. Look at me trying to take down this boo here with the controller method I was talking about, where I do a 360 motion. I'm kind of feeling myself right now. Then with all the Mario items, we go to the fortune teller, who allows us to take her down into the painting willingly. And even if it does look painful for her, she still did say that she wanted to go back in the painting. So, you know, no harm, no foul. Afterwards, we head upstairs and have this spooky little cutscene of all these boos just waiting for us to show up. This is beyond regular Scooby-Doo stuff here, guys, but it ends up being by far the most annoying fight in the game, and of course, it's boo-related. You have to suck up the big boo, bring him over to the unicorn and pop him, then freeze the boos and suck them up. It ends up being pretty easy to get them down to like 1 to 5 boos left, but that's when it just starts getting so annoying. This is the only time in my entire playthrough I got a game over, and it was because one boo just kept running into me after I got all the other boos. You know, I'm just trying to freeze it, but when I shoot the freeze, it runs away. Like, the AI, when there's 1 or 2 left, is so torturous. It's just constantly running away, but I was able to get it on my second try. I was able to freeze him. But even so, with 1 left, that little guy took me down from 100 health to 22. And then traditionally, we watch everybody get turned into frames, and then we're off to the final section. Already? Then you start at the bottom, which is great, because you gotta climb all the way back up to the top of the balcony for this next part, where you go to open the new door, and of course, the power goes out. Egad's calling us and telling us, hey, now's a good time to catch Uncle Grimy. Says he likes mirrors. So then naturally you're like, okay, I'll go to that room that was one big mirror. No, that's not where you're supposed to go. You're supposed to go to the room with the wardrobes, and there's like a mirror. The first mirror you see is in there, so I guess that's the clue. But since the power's out, everywhere you go, you get stopped by ghosts. You can entirely ignore them, but let's be real, you're going to stop and suck up a few on your leisure, just because, you know, it's kind of the most fun part of the whole game. You take out the uncle, you head to the basement to go reset the power, and before you know it, you're face to face with King Boo, and he's scary. I love his little voice clips. They make him stand out from the other boos even more. But basically, he's like, you're not allowed here yet. You know, I got Mario back there. I'm not giving him up. He's mine. Go catch some more boos and more portrait ghosts, and maybe we can battle. And now we're on the final stretch of ghosts in this mad monster mansion. You go to the top to this toy room, and you have to click all these clocks to start working to get these 3 portrait ghosts to start moving, and they're all in the same room. So you have all these guys with 100 HP that you have to take down in the same room, and it's challenging. I remember getting stuck here as a child, and me and my friends, we'd take turns trying to see if we could beat this at once. we're never able to do it because when you're sucking one up, the other two are there to try to knock you out. So you can never really get a good hold on any of them, and before you know it, your life's at 0. This was the only time I made a call to the relief pitcher and got my dad to help me take these guys down. It was pretty funny watching him do it with ease and me kind of being a little annoyed because it was making me struggle so much. I thought it was going to be super difficult for him, but no. You know, he did it in one try without ever picking up the game before. I remember thinking how masterful he must be at all video game knowledge to be able to jump in and do that. But no, it turns out he's just an adult who was able to understand the mechanics from picking it up. After watching him do it, we restarted the game, and I was able to do it myself. That was pretty cool of him to make sure I was able to get it done too. It's like he knew I was taking pride in beating this game, just me. After taking down the tin soldiers, that takes us to a little girl staying in the guest bedroom, where you have to put water on her bed to take her out to make her think that she peed the bed. Legitimately, I feel bad about sucking this girl up. We basically bully her, then put her in a painting forever. That's just tough, man. That's just mean of Luigi. After her, then we have to take down the Jar Ghost, who was always a favorite of mine since he had a little jolly mini game where you had to freeze him before capturing him. Then mosey back on down to the basement to get the Eskimo Ghost, who's a real meanie and shocks icicles at you when you try to catch him. But come on, bro. You're the last ghost before the boss. I'm gonna catch you. And then because I got this far, I was like, you know what? I might as well just capture all the boos. So I was able to get them all, but towards the end, there's a couple 300 HP boos that just go from room to room to room that no matter how much you twist the controller into 360 motion, they're going to do whatever they want. And that got really annoying, but I was able to get them all. So, you know, props to me, I guess. When I was a kid, there's no shot I captured all 50 boos. And now we head towards the final hallway to face the king of the boos at this granular battle, but not before he monologues at us. And because I took down all the boos, his dialogue seemed kind of scared to fight me, and I kind of like that. It gave me a nice little confidence booster. I remember that monologue being a lot more threatening as a kid, but I think that's because I didn't get all the boos. As he's monologuing, the music gets quicker and quicker, and all of a sudden the picture of Mario starts to turn into a picture of Bowser. We get sucked up into the frame and basically get transported to hell. I mean, there are flames behind us, and there's a giant dragon ready to attack us with a ghost inside of it. I mean, if this isn't hell, I don't know what hell is. I can't overstate how cool this battle is. You fight King Boo inside a Bowser corpse. What? Bowser blows fire and rolls these spike balls at you, which you have to then suck up and shoot back at his head. And when you do, his head flies off and King Boo comes out of his neck hole. The way King Boo exits too, he really makes a meal of it. It's not a smooth exit, he kind of like stutter steps a little bit, and it makes him flying out of Bowser's headless body even more unsettling. You then have to suck King Boo up, his HP being at 500, and defeating him is how we get to the end of our journey. But it's not that easy, as Bowser's floating decapitated head follows you and shoots ice shards from his mouth while you try to fully suck up King Boo. Plus, King Boo only stays out in the open so long. So you have to stay alive, not get hit by the spike balls, or the ice shards, or the fire breath long enough to take down King Boo. And, you know, King Boo acts like a Boo. He doesn't get sucked up like a regular portrait ghost. You have to, like, follow him as he does his own thing, which is quite annoying. I hate capturing the Boos at this point. As the Luigi Mansion master that I am, I ended up taking them down on my first attempt, but they got me down to 13 health, and were insanely close to knocking me out. Watch this right here. That last ice shard was supposed to hit me and be a game over. It's not the hardest boss, but it might be the most memorable. It's not the hardest Mario boss, but it may be the most memorable final boss in any Mario game. And I'm being 100% serious when I say that. Like, you're not going to remember fighting King Boo and Bowser in the pits of hell? Then, directly after sucking up King Boo, we finally go back to the lab for one final time with the Mario painting. But first we watch EGAD press everybody into the paintings as they usually do. Then, he turns the reverse on the machine so we can get Mario out of the painting. It makes for a really heartfelt moment where Luigi sees Mario go through the machine and then get pushed out 3D again. And even though Mario's hurt, Luigi laughs as tears roll down his eyes. So happy to see his brother finally safe, all thanks to him. I'm not even trying to hide it, I'm crying. These are the most complex emotions we've seen from any Mario character in the mainline series, and it may be the most we'll ever see. Luigi here is overcome with joy and is laughing at his brother because he got thrown out of the machine, while happy tears fill up his face because he knows his brother is safe. This ending really sticks with me to this day. It shows how much Luigi loves his brother, and he would face his biggest fears for him any day. Alright, enough sappy stuff. Let's see the mansion I want, sucking up all that money I made. Whoa! Nice, a B! That's certainly the highest ranking I ever got in a Luigi's Mansion playthrough, so I'll take it. I'll take 12. And that was Luigi's Mansion. Is this Luigi's Mansion the best of the three? Well, I think I can finally say, after claiming that it has been the best Luigi's Mansion this whole time, no, I do not think it's the best of the three. When comparing it to other Luigi's Mansions, it's just too short to call it the best. I would say, though, that out of all three, it carries the most grim tone and executes the mechanics and the story the best. I would say it's better than Luigi's Mansion 2, but 3 has to be the best out of all of them, with how much more it offers, and it does a great job at bringing back the portrait ghost and returning the tone to a little more grim than just straight silly. Shout out to my buddy Tim for letting me borrow his copy of Luigi's Mansion because mine's back in New Jersey. Even if it does have that yellow, ugly player's choice banner on it. I hate that. But yeah, thanks for sticking around to the end of the video. Make sure to like and subscribe. We're going to have more stuff right here on Nick Vez Gaming coming out. And I made my room super dark, and now I'm not scared at all to exit it and shut all this off. Okay, bye.